Incredible rescue, dog's amazing journey revealed as he overcomes 100 aggressive bees to survive. Hank, the golden retriever with a heart of gold, was more than just a pet, he was Emma and Jake's lifeline on rough days. Whenever Clara, their mother, left for yet another long shift at the hospital, it was Hank who brought them joy. With his wagging tail and soft, liquid brown eyes, he soaked up their worries and replaced them with warmth and love. The kids adored him, especially when the weight of school bullying or their father's absence felt too heavy to bear. As summer graced the suburban neighborhood in Ohio, the annual community picnic at the local park was just around the corner. The air was filled with the sweet aromas of barbecue and laughter, an idyllic American gathering. Children dashed around playing tag, while families set out blankets under the shade of leafy trees. Clara, feeling particularly grateful, decided to treat Emma and Jake to a day of fun, hoping that it would give them a moment of relief from their daily burdens. But as the chaos of excitement enveloped them, Hank got separated from his beloved family. With every bark muffled by laughter, Hank felt the unease creep into his heart. He wandered, searching for the comforting sounds of Clara, Emma, and Jake. Suddenly, an unsettling rustling emanated from the bushes. Curious, he crept closer, and there they were, a wild beehive buzzing aggressively. Before he could turn back, a young child nearby, lost in play, accidentally stumbled too close. The peaceful picnic erupted into chaos as the swarm descended upon the child, creating a heart-wrenching scene that sent parents rushing in panic. Hank, filled with instincts and unwavering courage, dashed toward the fray. He placed himself bravely between the terrified child and the oncoming bees, willing to take the stings if it meant protecting an innocent life. Clara's anxiety spiked as she searched frantically for her furry companion. The panic in her chest tightened with each passing second. She could not bear the thought of losing either of her children or Hank. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Neighbors quickly rallied together, calling out for Hank and the child. Clara instructed Emma and Jake to stay by her side, but they couldn't help but feel helpless. It was in those tension-filled minutes that they realized the true essence of community. Everyone was willing to help, to protect those who mattered most. Just when despair began to settle in, Hank returned beaten and weary, but resolute. He had fought off the swarm for the sake of the child, a small hero emerging from a swirling sea of fear. Clara's heart surged with conflicting emotions, pride, relief, and a simmering concern about the bees and their home being disturbed. As the cries of joy rang through the park, a shadow loomed. What would they uncover about that day which could change everything for their family? The lingering question sat heavy in the air, hinting at deeper truths waiting to be revealed. As the cheers of the picnickers faded into the background, Clara found herself kneeling beside Hank, who was panting heavily, each breath a reminder of the battle he had just fought. His golden fur was matted and his joyful spirit dimmed, but in his eyes shone a defiant light. Clara wrapped her arms around him, her heart swelling with gratitude. "You brave boy," she whispered, tears pooling in her eyes as she gently scratched behind his ears. Nearby, the frazzled child sat on the grass, cradled in the arms of a concerned parent who quickly checked for any stings. The child's face turned toward Hank, admiration replacing the fear that had clouded their eyes moments before. "Thank you, doggy," they murmured, their small voice barely a whisper. The parents nodded gratefully at Clara, and for a brief moment, the noise of the park faded away, leaving behind the collective relief and warmth of the gathering. Emma and Jake rushed forward, worry etched across their young faces. "Hank!" they shouted in unison, their voices lifting with pure joy as they flanked him. They could see the bruises on his side, evidence of the painful stings he had endured. Tears sprang to their eyes, but they were not tears of fear, they were tears of pride. "You saved that kid!" Jake exclaimed, throwing his arms around Hank's neck. Emma joined soon after, burying her face in the golden fur. For all the warmth of the community picnic, a chilling wind swept through Clara's heart. She would do anything to protect her children and Hank, but now she was haunted by the incident. What if they were to face another moment of chaos like this? The thought twisted in her mind, weaving shadows into her sunny day. The chaos around them began to ebb as Clara felt the support of neighbors rallying. Some had gathered, offering quick first aid for Hank, checking to see if he required a vet visit. Others comforted the child, assuring them that everything would be all right. The comforting hum of community enveloped Clara like a thick blanket, yet the fear thrummed beneath her skin. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting warm tones of gold and orange across the park, Clara knew they had to make a decision. They could go home, retreat from the memories of the scene, or they could stand together in the knowledge that they had witnessed something special that day. As Hank leaned into the affection of Emma and Jake, a determined spirit lit up within Clara. "Let us make a difference," she declared, surprising even herself. "What do you mean, Mom?" Emma's eyes gleamed, catching on Clara's new energy. Clara gathered the children close, sharing a plan that bubbled with hope and excitement. "We can help educate people about how to stay safe around insects. We can turn the fear into knowledge." Hank's tail wagged slightly, as if he understood that today's events could spark something much bigger than a nice family picnic. There was a driving force in the air, buzzing like the bees that caused the panic. The children beamed, seeing their mother's resolve. "Can we do something right now?" Jake asked eagerly, eyes wide with newfound purpose. As their little family discussed plans, oblivious to the evening gathering around them, a low rumbling hum returned, drawing Clara's attention back to the trees where shadows lurked deeper than before. It was as if the picnic was a mere backdrop for a greater story unfolding. Clara's heart raced as an unsettling thought crept into her mind. What if the bees were unhappy? What if they were seeking vengeance? Just then, a sudden movement in the distance caught her eye, and she felt a chill run down her spine. What was lurking behind those trees? What would they discover next? The shadows thickened as Clara's heart thundered in her chest. She glanced at Hank, still panting but now standing valiantly. With a protective stance, he seemed to sense her unease, his ears perked up and alert. The love Clara felt swelled, but so did concern. "Did you see that?" Clara's voice trembled slightly as she pointed toward the trees, struggling to find the words. "What is it?" Emma asked, her brow furrowing. "I don't know, something moved back there." Jake squinted, lining up the tree trunks with his gaze. "Maybe it's just a rabbit or something." But Clara wasn't convinced. The nagging worry tightened her stomach. While Hank healed from his earlier wounds, she feared they might still face the remnants of panic swirling among the bees. What if they were angry? Suddenly, several adults from the picnic began to inch towards the tree line, curiosity urging them onward. Clara felt a shift in her gut, a mix of instinct and desperation. "Wait. Don't go too close." She called out, but her voice was drowned out by the excited murmurs growing louder. "Look! Over there!" one man shouted. "It looks like there's something caught." Clara's heart sank. They might be in danger. The fear gripped her tightly. She took a breath, trying to ground herself. Hank had faced danger today, and somehow managed to protect everyone. Did she have the courage to do the same? In an instinctive reaction, Clara stepped forward, hand on Hank's collar. "Stay close, boy." The kids were right beside her, hearts racing in tandem with their mother's. As they approached the crowd, a scene unfolded. A cluster of bees circled a patch of wildflowers bordering the dense trees. The adult who had called out was cautiously leaning over, trying to get a better look. "Do you think they are gathering their queen?" Emma whispered, tugging on her mother's sleeve. "Maybe." Clara swallowed hard, remembering how much she wanted to educate people earlier. The nagging feeling transformed into clarity. This was their chance to show everyone how to handle the situation right. "But we need to be careful. Let us not scare them." Jake nodded, determination glinting in his eyes. "Maybe we can help them." With that spark of hope igniting their spirits, they carefully stepped closer, Hank radiating a strong presence, signaling calm to the poise of his young family. Clara glanced around at the adults who were still gathering, some taking pictures, others pointing, but a few looked just as frightened as she had felt moments ago. Listen up. Clara raised her voice, feeling the weight of those gazes settle upon her. We have to respect their space. If they feel threatened, they might react. Let us back up a bit. Hank, as if sensing her words, took a protective stance in front of the children, his golden fur illuminated by the fading sunlight. Emma and Jake echoed their mother's words, urging others to step back along with them. I saw a video on the internet about how to keep bees calm. Jake shouted, excitement tinging his voice. If we just move slowly and talk softly, maybe they'll stay chill. Clara couldn't help but grin at her son's enthusiasm, bolstered by his resilience. It felt like a shift had begun, a ripple that could reach far beyond the evening. But just as they started moving back, a loud buzzing crescendoed, filling the air. A few bees broke from the swarm and flew dangerously close, alarming the curious crowd. Clara's heart raced. Was this it? Would they witness chaos again, now the real test approached? Would they maintain their new mindset of safety and education that Clara was so passionate about? Or would they retreat into fear? In that moment, Clara felt the weight of everyone's gaze, charged with hope and uncertainty. She tried to hold their collective breaths in her hands and steady her own. Everyone, stay calm. She yelled over the buzzing sound, adrenaline coursing through her. Trust Hank. We can do this together. What unforeseen challenges awaited them among the shadows of the trees? Would they find a way to calm the chaos and help the angry bees? Clara's pulse raced as the buzzing intensified, a frenzied hum resonating around them. The crowd's eyes shifted, caught between curiosity and fear, and Clara felt the weight of their anxiety pressing in on her. A few people took hesitant steps backward, but many remained glued to the scene, their fascination battle-tested by instinctual dread. Hank, sensing the tension, stood firm, his jaw clenched, as though he recognized the imminent threat. Clara knelt beside him, whispering softly, "We need to show them we're not a threat, boy." The gentle rumble of his breathing filled her with strength, and in that moment, she realized her mission was bigger than just calming the bees. It was about leading this gathering through an uncertain moment with grace and understanding. Look, everyone. She called again, steadier this time. Let us take a big step back. Right now, we're too close for comfort. Bees need their space, just like we do. Jake nodded, pointing excitedly. Look. If we start talking softly like this. He began to hum a low, soothing melody, imitating the calm rhythm of nature. The LLC we're friends. Emma took her brother's lead, her voice a sweet whisper amongst the cacophony. Come on. Let us take a step back together. Slowly, Clara saw the power of their family unity starting to take hold. Earlier apprehensions melted away as others began to move back, shoulders relaxing as they followed the lead of the children. Clara's heart filled with hope as she watched. It was a small victory, but a pivotal one, and it felt like the walls of panic had begun to crumble. With Hank at their side, the children and Clara stepped back just enough to create space, a buffer between the bees and the fascinated crowd. But nature had its own plans. Suddenly, a burst of movement caught Clara's eye. Two particularly aggressive bees darted from the cluster, their buzzing turned furious. They swooped dangerously close, and Clara instinctively stepped closer to Emma and Jake, shielding them with her body. Stay behind me. Clara urged, her voice steady. She could feel their little hearts racing against her back, but she drew on Hank's strength, envisioning their resilience as she remained calm under the rising pressure. The crowd stood captivated, some gasping with surprise, others whispering in hushed tones about what they should do. We can't panic. Clara emphasized, trying to quell any remaining unease. Panic never helps. She recalled how earlier that day, everything had felt so daunting, but now, they were a community rising up, seeking harmony with nature instead of fearing it. As if sensing their shift in energy, the bees began to calm. The hum lessened, settling into a steady drone rather than the chaotic crescendo it had become. Hank stood watchful, unyielding in his protective stance, the embodiment of trust for the children and their mother. While Clara breathed a sigh of relief, she noticed something extraordinary. One bee took a brave flight toward Hank, investigating this golden creature anchored to the end of a family circle. Clara's breath caught in her throat again, a moment of beauty amid the chaos. Look. They're not attacking. They just want to understand. The crowd, now intrigued rather than fearful, leaned forward, absorbing the mystery of life unfolding before them. Clara felt a wave of pride wash over her. They were learning, meandering through the lessons of coexistence together with Hank as their unshakable guide. Suddenly, the wind picked up, rustling through the leaves, stirring a fresh wave of uncertainty. Another cluster of bees drifted down, tilting toward the wildflowers, but this time, Clara felt the strength of not just Hank's protection surrounding them, but the determination of the people united beside her. With each buzz and flap, questions flickered in her mind. How would they navigate this moment? Would they finally see the wonders of this tiny world? As the air thickened with tension again, Clara prepared for whatever came next. Could they embrace the unknown and continue the dance with nature? Would they emerge united, transformed by this unexpected encounter? The shadows of the trees felt heavier as they stood on the brink of discovery. What awaited them could change everything. Clara watched, her breath hitching in her throat as the new cluster of bees swarmed around them, each buzzing forming a chaotic dance in the air. It was as if they were shaping a new narrative, one that hung thick with possibility and tension. Her heart raced again, but not out of fear. Something about the atmosphere felt charged with energy and opportunity to break the cycle of anxiety that had gripped the crowd. Easy, easy, she murmured softly, coaxing both the bees and the people with her calm demeanor. Jake and Emma stood beside her, their young faces a mixture of awe and confusion, mirroring Clara's own sense of wonder and responsibility. She held her arms out low, a bridge between the wild swarm and their gathering. "Let us make a little room, folks. Just a little space," Clara called again, her tone soothing yet commanding. "The bees may just be curious, like us." As her words echoed through the thrumming air, a few observers began to shift backward, hesitantly creating a wider perimeter. Clara felt gratitude swell inside her for each small movement. It was a sign, a testament to her resolve to turn fear into understanding. Just then, the two aggressive bees buzzed closer again. This time, they weren't just threats, they were part of the intricate web of life that Clara yearned to unveil. "Hank! Stay close," she instructed, her voice rising over the buzzing as she gestured for her dog to remain near Emma and Jake. Hank's warm presence next to the kids was a source of comfort, and Clara could see them both lean into him, sensing that even the fiercest of creatures could be met with love and courage. Clara took a trembling breath, reminding herself of the resilience blooming amidst the unease. This moment had the potential to teach everyone involved something essential, perhaps even more than she could articulate yet. The bees' wings glinted in the sunlight, creating a striking image against the verdant backdrop. It's all about trust, Clara realized, not just about the bees learning they weren't a threat, but about the crowd learning to trust in both nature and each other. She opened her arms wider, inviting the air to flow between them. A boy near the front of the crowd suddenly called out, "Look! They're landing on the flowers." His voice broke through the tension, infused with excitement. Clara turned to see the bees turning their attention to the nearby blooms, spiraling down to the vibrant petals as if they had discovered a treasure trove. Cheers erupted from the crowd, astonishment taking over fear. The atmosphere shifted palpably, lightness flooding the space where anxiety had just reigned. Clara couldn't help but smile. The moment had morphed into something beautiful, a vivid illustration of what could happen when fear was replaced with curiosity. But just as the tension eased, Clara felt a ripple of concern wash over her. What if this joyous distraction led to carelessness? "Let's not get too close, everyone," she cautioned, her voice steady again. "We need to respect their space while they gather pollen." She turned back to Hank, who watched intently, as if sensing his role in all of this was far from over. Clara knelt beside him, heartened by the rhythm of his breath. It felt as though nature itself was teaching them all a lesson in respect and coexistence. Yet, in the periphery, she noticed a few stragglers among the crowd not paying attention. The wide-eyed children were inching too close to where the bees danced. Clara's chest tightened. "Hey!" she called out, her voice rising once more. "Let us stay back, remember? Safety first." At that moment, one of the aggressive bees took accidental aim at the children, darting near just like before. Clara's heart raced anew. Would this end in chaos, or could she guide them once more? Gripping Hank's collar, she prepared herself to direct the scene any way she could. The uncertainty loomed again, but she believed fiercely in their shared potential. What would happen next? Would they rise to the challenge one more time? Would they become partners with nature, or succumb to fear again? Clara's heart pounded, and in a split second, every instinct screamed at her to act. She pushed through the crowd, urging people to retreat with every ounce of calm she could muster. "Back away, carefully," she called, eyes darting from the bees to the children who had lost their sense of caution. They recognized her urgency but were still caught in a moment of fascination, not fully aware of the danger closing in. Just then, the aggressive bee that had zoomed toward them landed on the collar of Hank. Clara gasped, her breath catching in her throat. "Hank! Stay!" She subtly tugged at his collar, her heart aching with worry. The dogs are usually fearless. This could end badly if he felt threatened. Hank remained steady, tail wagging, as though he found joy in the chaotic buzz. Clara could feel the crowd's rising panic, a tangible energy pulsing through the air. But she couldn't let fear win. She focused on Hank, giving him a combination of affection and authority. "Let us help them, buddy. You can do this." The bond between them felt stronger than ever. With that determination, Clara glanced back at the children. "Guys, let us take 4 huge steps back, okay? 3, 2. She counted backwards aloud, trying to capture their attention. To her relief, Emma and Jake nudged the others to follow her lead, stepping away with a combination of hesitation and respect. The momentary chaos shifted as the children replenished the gap between them and the bees. Clara exhaled deeply as she watched them regain focus. Each movement resembled a delicate choreography, inevitable yet precise, like the movement of bees themselves. Hank, sensing the tension lifting, became curious about the bees. He turned, sniffing the air, emboldened by Clara's steady presence. Clara knelt, whispering to him, "Okay, buddy, just a little patience." The warmth of their bond pushed her forward, a reminder of why she was there to teach, to empower. The bees danced around them in swirls just beyond the safety of their new perimeter. "Look at them!" A voice rang out, an older woman, eyes wide with wonder. This new interest drew the crowd's collective attention. "They're just working, aren't they?" "Yes," Clara responded, finding affirmation in their words. "They're gathering pollen. They just need a little space to do their job." She marveled at how quickly the mercurial mood shifted from fear to fascination. This curiosity was what she had hoped for. It created a bond for the people, for the bees, and within herself. As they all stood in awe, Clara's eye caught a glimpse of the aggressive bee again, buzzing ominously close. It was alone, separated from the herd. Her heart thudded as she recognized its erratic movement. It was displeased, protective of its territory. "Oh no," she whispered, instinctively pushing Hank slightly back, body language urging caution. "Stay calm, everyone," she shouted, her heart racing again as she knelt closer to Hank, signaling to the crowd to remain quiet. The world seemed to shrink to just the 3 of them, the furious bee, Hank, and herself. Clara's palms grew moist against her thighs, but she resisted the urge to move away. "Hank, it's okay. We can handle this together." But as if on cue, a sudden gust of wind rattled through the area, sending the bees into a frenzy. Clara's breath caught once more, fear creeping back. Just as panic threatened to resurface, Clara steadied her gaze once more, searching for clarity amidst the chaos. What could she do now? Was there a way to become an ally not just to the bees, but to the anxious spirits surrounding her? Would she find the right words to guide them again, or was there something unseen at play that would unleash a wave of consequences? As the buzzing intensified, Clara knew deep down that she was on the cusp of a choice, one that could reopen the door to fear or take their journey down a path of trust and understanding. The moment loomed, full of expectation, and Clara took a breath to reach for it. Clara's heart raced as the wind swirled, the frantic buzz of the bees escalating into a cacophony. She sensed the rising tide of fear from the crowd behind her, an undercurrent that threatened to pull everyone into a whirlwind of panic. But as she knelt beside Hank, she felt a spark of determination. They were in this together. "Stay close, Hank," she murmured, her eyes scanning for the unpredictable bee again. She could feel its presence, that aggressive energy. The controlled chaos danced around them in a way that sent shivers down her spine, yet it also invigorated her spirit. "Everyone, stay silent and watch," she urged, pulling the crowd's attention back towards her. "We want to show them we are no threat." A mix of trust and apprehension flickered among the people. Clara prayed they would remain still, her voice rising against the backdrop of buzzing wings. "Look closely. They don't want to hurt us. They're just scared. Just like us." Clara took a cautious breath, trying to merge her fear with the needs of the moment. She felt Hank shift beside her, and a sense of peace washed over her. The way he stood, alert yet calm, reminded her of the silent strength they shared. "You're a good boy," she whispered, heart swelling with pride. It was as if Hank absorbed her strength, his eyes gleaming with understanding. Gradually, the people began to mirror Clara's composure. "Just breathe," she directed. "Let us give them space." Just then, out of the corner of her eye, she spotted the aggressive bee again, beating its wings with an angry intensity as it hovered near Hank. Clara's stomach twisted, heart racing. This bee was frightened, but in its fear, it was acting out to protect itself and the others. "Hank, let us move a little closer to me," she said quietly, but firmly, grabbing his collar. "You know it's okay." Hank stepped forward, not retreating, but showing a blend of curiosity and confidence. Clara felt the crowd's anticipation heighten, eyes locked on the spectacle unfolding before them. Together, they faced the tiny creature, and what could have been a terrifying encounter shifted to an extraordinary moment of connection. "Watch how they move," Clara pointed at the bees dancing through the air. "They need each other." The crowd began to nod, the buzz of positivity echoing her own confessions. They were simple creatures, bound by instincts identical to their own: survival, cooperation, community. Suddenly, the fierce bee darted toward Clara's face. Instinctively, she flinched, but then she stood firm, body steadying with resolve. "Hank, stay." A soft growl escaped Hank, but Clara placed a hand on his back. "Easy, buddy. We're all right." The crowd gasped at the sight, holding their breath, each heartbeat sinking in a shared rhythm of fear and fascination. But then, like a magician performing a grand finale, something extraordinary happened. The aggressive bee landed gently on Clara's arm, its wings still buzzing but less frantic. Time seemed to freeze. Clara's heart raced at the trust this tiny creature showed her, a mere human within its realm. "Whoa," she breathed, feeling a wave of awe wash over her. As the crowd erupted in a mix of wonder and murmurs, Clara looked around, meeting the eyes of each child who had once been so captivated by the chaos. "See? They just need a moment. Just like we do." But as she spoke, Clara tragically misunderstood the bee's intentions. Just as quickly as it landed, a gust of wind whipped through again, sending a flurry of bees into a collision course with the crowd. The eager buzz crescendoed, creating a growing worry among the onlookers. "Stay with me," Clara yelled, but would they be able to hold on to their newfound understanding when fear struck again? Would Hank protect her as they braved what seemed to loom in the chaos? As the storm of bees approached, Clara's stomach knotted again, wavering between her hopes for trust and the reality of their wildness. What would happen next? Would she manage to turn this into a lesson of bravery instead? Clara held her breath, knowing that every second counted as the moment of change hung precariously in the air. The crowd quaked with fear as the swarm of bees surged forward, the air thickening with tension. Clara felt the lightness in her heart shift, the weight of anxiety threatening to sink her spirit. In that heartbeat of chaos, she kept Hank close, her trembling hand still resting on his back, sending silent encouragement. "We can do this, buddy," she whispered, feeling the warmth of his fur beneath her palm. "Hank, look at me. Clara implored as the bees veered closer, their frantic buzzing growing like a storm. Hank's eyes locked onto hers, unwavering. The bond between them pulsed with courage, a lifeline amidst the thrumming fear. A deep breath filled Clara's lungs as she focused, the crowd around them blurring into a circle of faces worried and waiting. Then, in an instinctive gesture, Clara dropped into a crouch, pulling Hank low beside her. "Everyone! Get down and cover your heads!" she shouted, her voice sharp above the clamor. She felt the collective energy shift, her command snapping the crowd into action. As people crouched, those around her began to mirror her confidence. Hank's soft whines broke the silence when something jostled against his fur. With a quick motion, Clara looked down. A bee had landed near his paw, its wings agitated but also curiously still. Clara's heart raced again, but she sensed the creature's need for reassurance, mirroring her own. "Hey, you little one," she said gently, her voice soothing. "It's okay. We aren't here to disturb you." The words felt absurd, but in that moment of vulnerability, she could sense the creature yearning for calm amid the turmoil surrounding it. As if responding to her voice, the bee paused. The flurry of activity faded momentarily, as if time had slowed for just long enough to recognize the strength of connection. The panic in Clara began to ease, and she dared to hope. Just like that bee on Hank's paw, maybe they were all in this together, the people, the bees, and the fragile moments between them. Then the wind shifted again, bringing a sudden chill that swept through the crowd. Clara's breath caught as she saw swirls of bees rising into a twister around them. "Stay still," Clara urged, the panic rising again in her chest. "Do not swat at them." She felt the subtle tremors of fear creeping through the multitude, body language screaming worry. But Clara steadied herself, finding strength in vulnerability and purpose. She turned to face the chaos with determination, stepping in front of Hank once more. "Hank, stay close," she commanded softly, her fingers gripping the collar snugly. As the living whirlpool of bees raged around them, a moment of clarity ignited within Clara. They could not control the chaos, but they could choose how to respond to it. She locked eyes with one of the frightened children, a little girl with wide blue eyes, trembling at the edge of the crowd. "Look at us. We won't let fear take over." With those words, Clara felt the murmur of resolve ripple through the people, the collective breath shared between the frightened children and the adults lending strength to each other. But as the bees swarmed closer in a frenetic dance, Clara sensed the moment teetering on a knife's edge. Had they found camaraderie, or had they provoked an unseen force? Just as tumult reigned high, something remarkable began to unfold. The buzzing shifted melody, an odd harmony rising from the chaos. Clara's heart raced again, not with fear this time, but with anticipation. Could it be that they were drawing the bees together, that understanding could weave through the wildness? "Hank, let us show them," she began uncertainly, yet the words slipped out like a wish as they faced the ever-approaching cloud. What could be reached in this moment of fleeting connection? Clara felt the world swirl around her, the fragile balance trembling, awaiting transformation. And then the unexpected happened. A shimmering glimmer of light burst from the middle of the swarm. Clara's eyes widened. What was that? Piece by piece, the world around her began to shift and change. Would this glimmer hold the answer to their plight? Hope flickered, sparking new questions just as rapidly. The shimmering light pulsed through the air, contrasting sharply against the dark swarm of bees. Clara blinked, trying to comprehend the surreal beauty that emerged amidst the chaos. It was as if a beacon had ignited, illuminating the path forward. She felt an electric excitement course through her, urging her to explore this uncharted territory of possibility. "Hank, look," she breathed, all weaving through her words. She gently nudged his shoulder with her own, sharing the moment in its fragile wonder. As if sensing her optimism, Hank's ears perked up. The bees now circled the light, their buzzing changing from menacing to melodic, a strange harmony resonating through the crowd. Motioning with her hand, Clara took a small step toward the glimmering core, but instinctively, Hank stayed anchored by her side. The crowd was still, breaths held as they watched the unexpected unfold. Clara's heart swelled, head swimming in thoughts both panicked and hopeful. What is happening? she whispered. Suddenly, the light pulsed brighter, and Clara felt drawn to it. The air felt charged, as if every member of the crowd held its breath collectively, holding on to the delicate thread of hope that had spun itself gently into existence. Then, without warning, a bee separated from the swarm and descended smoothly toward her. Clara felt her own breath hitch in her throat. "It's okay," she repeated softly, echoing the assurance she had offered to the bee earlier. So many emotions surged within her: curiosity, fear, and an undeniable tether of determination. The bee landed right on her hand, gentle and light, its wings vibrating softly. For a heartbeat, Clara and the creature shared an unspoken promise. Then, as if a switch had flipped, the swarm began to disperse, breaking from its tight formation. The atmosphere shifted, the melody of buzzing transforming into a soothing hum as the bees followed the beckoning light like moths to a flame. Clara's heart raced anew, hope swelling as she recognized their movement not as a threat, but a signal of unity. "Hank, look!" Clara exclaimed. She grabbed his collar, tipping her head toward the retreating swarm. "They're leaving! They're following the light!" Relief surged through her, her entire being electrified by the possibility of escape from this chaos. As happiness bubbled within, she turned toward the crowd. "They're guiding us. We just have to trust." Her words found traction, stirring courage in the hearts of those trembling around her. In that moment, a man stepped forward, his brow creased but glistening eyes filled with newfound hope. "Do you really think we can follow them?" he asked, voice shaky but eager. Clara nodded vigorously, conviction swelling in her chest. "We have to. Together." With that, she took a bold step toward the light, Hank at her side, the crowd beginning to rise around them like a wave of determination. Yet just as they made their first collective move, shadows pounced from the edges of the crowd. Clara's heart dropped. The bees surged forward, their focus shifting as ominous figures crept closer. The light flickered, the airy melody fading as the euphoria turned to dread. "Hank!" she cried, mind racing. "We need to hurry. They're coming back." What had felt like a moment of triumph now spiraled toward a new crisis. The swarm had completely left, shadows loomed just outside, threatening the hopeful spark of clarity. Clara's resolve burned brighter, but uncertainty gnawed at the edges of her conviction. Could they really navigate through the looming threat? What awaited them just beyond the light? As the crowd surged with her, the path ahead twisted and narrowed, uncertainty mingling with urgency. The heartbeat of risk pulsed around Clara. Would they find refuge, or was it too late to escape the full wrath of the bees? The answer lay just ahead, shrouded in mystery. As the shadows crept closer, Clara's heart raced like a runaway train. She felt Hank's warmth next to her, a steady reminder of courage. "We can do this, Hank," she whispered, her voice barely more than a breath. "We just need to trust one another." With renewed resolve, Clara clasped Hank's collar tighter, feeling the strength radiate from him. He was her anchor in this storm. The crowd began to mirror her resolve, inching closer to the bright light guiding them, a shimmering beacon against the chaos. "Everyone, follow my lead," she called out, hoping to rally their spirits once more. "Let us stay calm and keep moving toward the light." Just as Clara boldly took a step forward, the aggressive bee made another daring dive toward them. Panic threatened to swirl through the crowd again, but Clara stood her ground, turning to face the insect. "We're not here to hurt you," she shouted, her voice ringing out effortlessly through the buzzing atmosphere. "Remember? We want peace." To her surprise, the bee paused mid-flight, hovering above her with a new kind of curiosity. The crowd stilled, watching as if a spell had woven its way through them, binding them in shared determination. Hope shimmered in their eyes, and Clara felt the weight of their collective trust pouring out. "Now, move toward the light," she urged again, and inch by inch, Clara led the way. People began to follow, hearts beating as one. Hank moved confidently by her side, tail wagging, each step a testament to the bond of bravery they had cultivated together. As they progressed, the area surrounding the light transformed into a vibrant oasis. Colorful flowers bloomed, their petals welcoming the sunlight. Clara felt a thrill of discovery. This enchanted space was alive with whispers of nature, the energy surrounding them changing with every heartbeat. The chaotic buzzing began to fade, replaced with a gentle hum, like music softly playing in the background. Then suddenly, the last group of aggressive bees darted past, seeming to veer away from the group. Clara looked over her shoulder, her heart hammering. "They're moving!" She gestured to everyone. "They're giving us a chance." With new vigor, they rushed toward the light, Clara leading the way. Each footfall echoed with determination, stitching them closer as a community. Hands clasped together, people shared glances that spoke volumes. Their fears dissipated, twisted into something extraordinary: unity, knowledge, and newfound courage. At the heart of the radiant light stood a hive, marvelous and bustling with bees all calmly working together, their fear evaporated like a morning mist. "This is what it's all about," Clara said, breathless and overwhelmed with emotion. "They just wanted to protect their home, just as we protect ours." In that moment, laughter erupted among the crowd, elated, joyful laughter. They were no longer a thrumming mass of fear but a collective of heartbeats united against the chaos. "Hank, you did it!" Emma and Jake shouted together, their voices illuminated with pride. The bees seemed to respond, swirling gracefully around Hank before settling back against the hive. It was as if they were acknowledging the bravery they had shared, the trust binding them together. Clara watched as families embraced, children chuckled in delight, and even the anxious adults exchanged relieved smiles. And finally, Clara knelt down, placing her hand on Hank's soft fur, overwhelmed by gratitude. "Thank you, boy," she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. He looked up, joy shining in his brown eyes, and bumped her cheek with his nose, instilling warmth into her heart. In that profound moment, Clara knew they had transcended fear. They had shifted into something greater. The community now understood that knowledge and kindness could lead them through even the darkest of storms. They were stronger together, united in respect for life, no matter how small. "Let us go home," Clara breathed, linking arms with Emma and Jake, pulling Hank closer. They turned back toward the park, a new day dawning on the horizon filled with possibilities. The future shimmered brightly ahead, inviting optimism and partnership. As they walked back, Clara felt the lightness in her heart. This moment would be a cherished memory, a pivotal chapter that marked the beginning of a lifelong journey of understanding, change, and love. The vibrant hues of a sunset painted the park in a golden glow, ushering in an air of peace. "Together, we can make a difference," Clara declared as laughter echoed around them. "We'll spread this message far and wide." They walked away, hope lifting them higher, Hank's tail wagging relentlessly, a testament to their shared adventure of bravery and transformation. Now, more than ever, they stood ready to face whatever came next. And as the last of the day's light faded, Clara felt a wave of warmth wash over her. Together, there's nothing we can't conquer. You need to subscribe now to join us on this journey of courage, love, and discovery. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Comment your thoughts about this inspiring ending and what it meant to you. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support matters to us.